Guys, this is a video by edubuoy and today we are going to study science chapter number 5, coal and petroleum from NCERT book. So let's begin. So as the chapter names, coal and petroleum. So as they are a resource, so first we should learn that what are resources. A resource is a source or supply from which a benefit is produced and that has some utility. Resources can broadly be classified upon their availability. They are classified into renewable and non-renewable resources. An item becomes a resource with time and developing technologies. So types of resources. There are two types of resources: inexhaustible natural resources and exhaustible natural resources. Inexhaustible natural resources are those resources which are present in unlimited quantity and cannot be completely used up by human activities. They are called inexhaustible resources. Example: water and air. And there are many more. Don't think that these two only are there. Now, exhaustible natural resources. Non-renewable resources is a natural resource that cannot be readily replaced by natural means at a quick enough pace to keep up with consumption. An example is carbon-based fossil fuel and originally organic matter with the aid of heat and pressure becomes a fuel such as oil or gas. Now let's read or just learn about the main point: coal. Coal is a hard rock which can be burned as a solid fuel or fossil fuel. It is mostly carbon but also contains hydrogen, sulfur, oxygen and nitrogen. It is a sedimentary rock formed by peat by the pressure of rock laid down later on top. More about coal. Coal is a fossil fuel and is the altered remain of prehistoric vegetation. The energy we get from coal today comes from the energy that plants absorbed from the sun millions of years ago. In the burning process of coal, carbon dioxide (CO2) is emitted. Let's continue learning about coal. The energy we get from coal today comes from the energy that plants absorbed from the sun millions of years ago, as I told you right now. Did you know that coal contributes approximately 40% of the world's electric production? In other words, the world relies on this fossil fuels from energy production more than any other energy source, including oil, natural gas, nuclear source, the sun, water, and the wind. As of now, a number of coal deposits present will last from another 300 years, but after that, as it is an exhaustible natural resource, there will be none of these fossil fuel left. How is coal formed? Now we will read that how this fossil fuel is formed. The formation of coal takes place millions of years ago, which is why it is an exhaustible and non-renewable natural resource. It was formed around 300 million years ago when the earth was covered with swampy forest. When plant in these forests, mainly trees, mosses, ferns and reeds died or dead, they fell into the swamps. Thus there was a thick layer of dead vegetation in the swamp formed. As years passed, more and more plants died and many such layers were formed, one above each other. The topmost layer compressed the layer below. Heat and pressure causes some physical and chemical changes, and eventually some carbon-rich deposits were formed. And these carbon-rich deposits were found out that they were coal. Things obtained from coal. Now there are three types of things which are obtained from coal, which are coke, coal tar and coal gas. Coal tar. It is obtained as a byproduct in the process of making coke. Through its color is the same as coke. Tar is a highly viscous liquid. It is also has an extremely unpleasant smell. Its uses are: coal tar is widely used to manufacture paint, perfumes, synthetic dyes, photographic materials, drugs, and explosives. It can be utilized to make injections or insecticides. By mistake I said injections. And pesticides. Naphthalene balls that are commonly used to make moths or keep moths away from the clothes. And it is made from the tar. Now coke. Coke is high carbon product obtained by the destructive distillation of coal. The amount of carbon content is coke. It is so high that it is said to be an almost pure form of carbon. Coke is glassy, black in color and is hard, porous and solid. Uses of coke are: the most common use of coke is a fuel for stove, furnaces and blacksmithing. It is sometimes preferred over coal because burning coke produces very little smoke. It is also used to produce iron in a blast furnace. Coke is used to manufacture steel and many other materials. Coal gas. This is also obtained by or as a byproduct while producing coke. And again, just like tar, its smell is not very pleasant. It is a highly flammable gas as the main component of it is methane. Thus, it not regulate carefully, it can form mixture with gas resulting in explosions. So its uses are: it is mainly used as a fuel in industries situated near coal producing plants. Earlier it was used as a source of light. In the year 1820 it was used in London for the first time as a street lighting. Now it is more commonly used to provide heat and domestic and industrial purposes. Now the chapter heading contains two things. So the second one is petroleum. Now we will learn about petroleum. Petroleum is recovered by oil drilling. After it has been recovered, it is refined and separated. It is most commonly refined into different types of fuels. Petroleum containing or contains hydrocarbons of different molecule weights. In general, the denser the petroleum, the more difficult it is to process and less valuable it is. In the petroleum industry, petroleum campaigns are divided into upstream, middle stream and downstream. This refers to an oil and gas company's position in the supply chain. Upstream oil and gas companies' identity extract or produce raw materials. Downstream oil companies engage in business related to the post-production of crude oil and natural gas. Middle stream oil and gas companies connect downstreams and upstream companies typically by participating in the sortage and transportation of oil and other refined products. More on petroleum. The extraction and processing of petroleum and thus its availability is a major driver of the world's economy and geopolitics. Some of the largest companies in the world are involved in the extraction and processing of petroleum, and many other companies created production products that are petroleum based, including plastics, fertilizers, automobiles, and airplanes. For example, asphalt, which is used to pave highways, is made from petroleum. Vehicles that drive on highways are made of material derived from petroleum and runs on fuels that are derived from petroleum. Refining of petroleum. Petroleum refining processes are the chemical engineering processes and other facilities used to petroleum refineries, also referred to as oil refineries, to transform crude oil into useful products such as liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, gasoline or petrol, kerosene, jet fuel, diesel oil and fuel oils. So here in the picture you can see it. So now one more thing is natural gas. Natural gas, also called fossil gas, sometimes just gas, is a naturally occurring hydrocarbon gas mixture containing primarily of methane, but commonly including various amount of other higher alkanes and sometimes a small percent of carbon dioxide, nitrogen, hydrogen, sulfur or helium. Some natural resources are limited. So a natural resource is what people can use, which comes from the natural environment. Example of natural resources are air, water, wood, oil, wind energy, natural gas, oil and coal. The dividing line between natural resources and man-made resources is not clear-cut. Hydrogen electricity or hydroelectric energy is not a natural resource, but people use turbines to convert the energy from moving water. Petroleum and iron ores are natural but need to work to make them into usable refined oils and steels. Atom energy comes from metallic nuclear fuels like fissionable uranium and plutonium. But natural rocks need technical work to make them into these nuclear fuels.